Earlier this week, I had a phone call with a friend, and this friend of mine actually got COVID earlier this week, and I hadn't talked to them since they had gotten COVID until this phone call. And so I call this person, on the phone, and the first thing, ooh, they're the sweetest person ever. The first thing they ask is me a question, and they say, "How are you, bro?" I was like, "Oh, of course you would. Of course you are the one, fighting this illness, but you still, are like, 'How are you, man?'" And I'm like, "Oh, so what do I do, right? How do I how do I answer this nice question?" Well, he goes, "How are you, bro?" Fully having COVID. He goes, "How are you, bro?" And I said, "Probably better than your ass is doing, right?" And when I said it, I tried to stop myself in the moment, but then I was like, no, I've already said half the sentence. I should say the rest, right? Which isn't a rule. If you say half a sentence and it's going to be worse if you finish the sentence, hey, you don't have to finish the sentence. But I was like, no, yes, I do. So I did. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm probably doing better than you, huh? Because you're going fucking Travis Scott sicko mode over there, and I'm not. And he's like, "Yeah, that's because you don't go and hang out with anyone." I was like, "All right, easy. Now this is an attack on who I am as a person. That's something I can control. You can't control getting COVID. Let's, even the playing field here. Jesus." But I think I said that because I was like, that is our relationship. I feel like this person and I was like, we joke. And so, this was such a emotional moment. I feel like, this person putting my, like, he cared how I was doing. And how did I repay him? With a crass joke. You can't spell crass without an ass, and I never thought I did, but, I'm looking like quite a donkey over here. But I was like, no, in the moment I was like, that was okay. That was what you were supposed to do, Garv. But then even I felt uncomfortable, and I've been thinking about it for like a day or two. And I'm like, was that the right decision? Should I have said that? I know this person that I'm referencing, they probably haven't thought about it since, right? And if they have, then oh no. Then I have reason to worry. Because this is my exact worry. I hope I didn't cross the line. I never want to cross the line. But I worry, thinking more about this, maybe I did cross the line. But I was like, no, that's sometimes, you know, how you handle situations, right? With humor, with levity, sometimes brevity if you're trying to get out of there. But that was my gut reaction. I was like, oh, this is kind of a sensitive moment. Let's make a joke. And I did. But I think I did it because I was like, I know that this is why I'm friends with this person. Because we would make a joke right there, right? Or maybe is that me lying to myself and being like, no, this is what we both would have wanted. They would have done the same thing, so it's actually okay that I did it. Yeah, no, bro, I definitely handled that perfectly. I know both of us super well to know what we would both want. He's not gonna order. I'm gonna order for him. Yeah, he'll have the filet mignon. He's like, bro, I'm vegetarian. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I know what's good for both of us. Okay, he'll have the filet mignon. Okay, and give like 2 orders of it. I want him to take some of it home. Okay, thanks. No, he'll be picking up the check. It's not separate. It's yeah. No, I'm not gonna pay. I'm not gonna pay for it. I know our meals. That's good enough. I know how both of us operate. I don't have to pay for it too. What I have to do everything in this relationship. Get out of here with that. Get out of town. I think get out of town. See, that's dangerous territory right there. Because I just said it ironically, and this goes back to a couple weeks ago, right? When you say things ironically and then they cross over to unironic randomly. You don't even like it happens so quick, or it's not. No, it's not even quick. It's not an acute transition. It's a very chronic thing. You don't even see it coming. I saw this video. This guy was doing the what was it? The sea shanty, right? The dance on TikTok or whatever. I wasn't on TikTok, but I saw it like on Instagram or whatever. And this guy was doing the dance, and there were 5 of him, all wearing different color sweatshirts. And at the end of the dance, they all like switch positions. But then, ooh, the mind fuck is that the person in that position is wearing the color that the person that was just in that position was wearing. I did a terrible job of explaining that. But basically, as the person rotates, the colors don't. They stayed in place. And it's like, well, what the fuck? How did that happen? And so I just brought up that example, and I have no idea why I did that. I'm gonna be honest. It is 5:38 a.m. It's Memorial Day though, the day this comes out, so I don't have work today. So yeah, I'm back to my regular schedule, and to even call this regular, that's not great, right? But is it not great? You got to think about that. You know, we always like shame night owls, but it's like, who gives a hoot? Sorry, I saw it and I had to take it. I'm so sorry. I don't please, no, don't please go anywhere. I need you. This should show more than ever that I do need you right now, because I just made a fucking hoot owl joke. Kind of makes you wonder who would be watching after that. Okay. Now if you leave, I get it. I get it. That's on me. I doubled down. It was the same thing as, when I answered that phone call. I shouldn't have made the joke, but I was like, no, they should. Oh, why? No reason. Okay. Good. Good. At least there was some solid, like, motivation behind doing the stupid fucking thing you just did. I'm glad you thought it through, bud. But yeah, it's quite late, so I'm going to be honest. Even right before I pressed record, I was like, I can't string together a coherent thought. Like, really, all I want to do, I don't know why, but it's in my brain. I want to watch a movie. I don't know why, but I really want to watch a movie, and I can't think about like anything else. And you're like, oh, Garb, what movies are out? No, not even like going out. Like, I just want to be in my bed. I want to watch a hour and a half movie. You know, one of those shorter ones? I talked to a friend about this the other day. I was like, oh, do you prefer like the short movies or the long movies? He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, there are two really different types of movies. And he's like, no, there's not. I'm like, are you pulling my leg now? Like, what's going on here? And yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but like, I don't know if you think this way. Maybe this isn't even a thing that exists, but it exists in my head. There are like two groups of movies, right? No, there's really three. There's like hour 20, hour 30-minute movies. Then there's like the movies that are around 2 hours. And then there's fucking Marvel movies and like Quentin Tarantino movies, where they're like, this is going to be 3 hours and you're going to fucking sit through it, you little bitch. And it's like, okay, fine. And they're like, and you're going to pay us to be here. I'm like, yeah, I am. How much was that popcorn? $17? Yeah. And you do it again. I would. You're right. Oh my God. How do you know? But I want to watch one of those like shorter movies for some reason. It feels like a nice investment, right? But then it's dangerous. I watched Bounty Hunter, this movie. I watched it, I think like 2 days ago or something. And like 7 minutes in, I was like, fuck, I don't know if I want to watch this. Like, it was already like, this isn't shaping up to be what I thought it'd be. Like, right, actually, like immediately, you could tell the video quality was a little grainier than I thought it was going to be. It was 1080p, but they put some weird fucking filter on it, And I was like, fuck, I kind of want to eject out of this movie. But I was already into the plot enough, and I know how I pick movies. It takes me forever. It'll legitimately take me like 40 minutes to pick a movie. I do what I always do. I either Google comedy movies, popular movies, or popular comedy movies. And then I just scroll, and then I like, alt, or like I right click and then say open a new tab. And then I watch all their trailers, and then I don't like any of them. So then I go to Hulu or HBO Max or whatever. And then I scroll through that shit. I look at the details of a bunch of movies that have nice cover arts. I'm like, I'm not really feeling any of those. And then I go back to some movie I saw like in the first 2 minutes of movie surfing that I didn't watch the trailer for. And I'm like, well, I should just watch this. Jen Aniston's in it. Got to be okay, right? She makes good movies. I don't know. Is that a thing? I don't know. But I was like, yeah, when there's like one of those like really well known actors, there's at least going to be a little bit of quality control. But then I went and saw Sherlock and Holmes, and I was like, well, that theory is completely out of the fucking window. What the fuck was that? I remember watching Sherlock and Holmes with Andrew Hoyer, and I remember like 2 minutes into the movie thinking, oh, this is a mistake. But then at the end of the movie, I was really glad that we watched it, but we both said the same thing. Um, that was a fine movie. It was funny, but good God, I will never watch that movie ever again. It doesn't have like rewatchability because the whole thing is just like stupid jokes. So if you rewatch it again, I think part of the charm is like you get hit with it once and you're like, they really did that to me. But if you go in for a second time and they hit you with that same shit again, you're going to feel kind of insulted. You're going to be like, what the fuck? Did you just disrespect me? You're going to like square up in the movie theater. It's like, whoa, easy. But yeah, I want to watch one of those like short movies. And for some reason that's like locked in my brain, so I can't think of anything else. It also might be that I'm a little tired right now. It is 5:44 a.m. So I should probably, hit the hay, as they say, across the way, down by the bay, where the watermelons grow. Ooh, now I'm taking it somewhere else. Back to my home. I dare not go. For if I do, my mother will say, have you ever seen a duck sitting by a truck? Down by the bay, down by the bay. Okay, sorry. Where the watermelons grow. Sorry. But there is a movie out that looks kind of interesting, right? Top Gun Maverick. And I just learned like 2 days ago. The first Top Gun, it came out 36 years ago. I didn't know that. I thought it was like an early 2000s movie. Now that shit's 36 years old. I think it's just because Tom Cruise like looks pretty much the same that I was like, well, it has to be, from this last decade or two, right? Nah, it's 36 years old. What? So that's out, and it looks interesting, right? Jets. I don't know. I was talking to a coworker about this, and I came to the conclusion. I don't know if this is right or not, but through talking it out, I was like, wait. Again, I don't know anything about the Top Gun movie or movies, but I was like, isn't this just like Fast and Furious in the sky? Isn't it? Isn't Tom Cruise just like Vin Diesel, right? A guy that looks the same forever and he drives something really fast and probably talks about family. That has to be it, right? That's all Top Gun is. People flying jets and being like, family comes and goes, but jets are forever. Or maybe vice versa. I think the emphasis is probably on the family, right? They probably wouldn't put the jet ahead of the family. I don't know. But because, as you can see, I can't fucking think straight. I can't carry through a coherent thought. I'm going to be leaning on my notes pretty heavy here. I've been racking up some notes. And the past 2 or 3 podcasts, I've kind of only, hit 2 or 3 topics per podcast. So we got quite a lineup here that I can pick from. So let's start, huh? Palm tree vans. I wrote that down because I went grocery shopping the other day. Grocery shopping is actually incredibly insulting to say what I did. I went and got Chips Ahoy Reese's. I got the Chips Ahoy Reese's Pieces collab. No, the Reese's cups. Where they put like broken up Reese's cups in Chips Ahoy. I bought that and like a slice of cake. So to call that grocery shopping is kind of like fucked, right? That's. I mean, whatever you're into, man, right? If that's your diet, no. I didn't have any, like dessert, and so I was like, well, I gotta remedy this right quick, and so I did. But then when I was in the line for the shelf. When I was in line for the self-checkout, formed quite a line, I guess everyone was going grocery shopping. And then the guy in front of me was like, you're not grocery shopping. You're just buying cake. I was like, hey, shut the fuck up, man. No, No, but the guy in front of me, I took a look at his shoes, and he was wearing Vans, like slip-on Vans, and they had palm trees on them. And I thought that was so interesting because I was like, that's such a like, what is it? Like you're going a certain direction, like pretty deep, by getting palm tree Vans. Because I'm like, that can only go with so many things, right? And you could tell it was like his everyday wear. So you're like, wait, that's every outfit has that like at the base of it? And I know maybe it's like a donation or like, he's had these shoes for a while and like just can't afford a new pair. So like I get that if that's the case. But I was like, even so, right? Wasn't there like a catalog? Like let's say they were donated. Were there not like other shoes? And also if you did once upon a time buy them, wait, why'd you buy those? Like it seems a lot of the shoes I buy are like black and white so that they just go with everything. These are like green with palm trees. I was like, that's like, that's, that can only go with so much, right? Like the black and white shoes I have, you can wear them for anything, like any occasion, like work, like just hanging out, like going out, on a hike even. Like they're very versatile. I was like, slip on Vans. Like that's can only be for what they are right now, a quick trip to the grocery store. And so maybe he was using them for like what I was looking at him using them as, but I was like, those are pretty worn. Like you probably wear those everywhere, right? I don't know. I just thought that was so like this is really I guess just an insecurity of mine, right? Because I'm like, I could never do that. And this guy's fully like committed to the palm tree down low. And I was like, oh, I think it was like a little, it was a hit on me, Who was hitting on you, Garb? No, no one. But I was like, this is like, it made me self reflect because I was like, oh my God, what this guy's doing, I could never do. Palm tree Vans. Oh my. And then I thought, what if he did buy palm tree Vans? And then he went home and was like, well, now I'm going to style my entire wardrobe around these. And he just like went crazy on Hawaiian shirts. I think that would be like so respectable. Like that would be sick. That'd be so cool. Wow. I think that'd be so dope. But yeah, I just saw palm tree Vans. I was like, I know these exist, but you always see things that exist and you're like, yeah, that exists. And I guess they have a place in the world, but like, you never see the person that buys them. Like, it's kind of like a mythological creature. Like smart cars. I know smart cars exist, but every time you see one, you're like, oh my fucking, if you're with a group, you're like, hey, look, smart car. I don't know, do you do that? Anytime I see a smart car, whoever I'm with, if I'm with someone, I have to be like, look at that. That's a smart car. And they're like, yeah, Garv, I have eyes and you have four of them. Okay. So I know that you can see that. I'm like, oh, this got insulting quick. But yeah, it's just like, it's a unicorn. And you're like, well, look at that. Look at that fucking thing. And so it's the same thing. You might go to vans.com and you see these palm tree Vans. And you're like, huh, palm tree Vans. And then you're behind them in line at a Safeway and you're like, oh my fucking God, palm tree Vans. And they're like worn in. So you're like, he's been doing this for a while. Damn. I think I was just starstruck, was all. Because I was like, oh my God, you never see this in the wild. And here it is. I'm right behind it. Ooh. If I get lucky, I'm gonna get to check out my cake right next to that okay, phrasing. I get what that sounds like. But palm tree Vans, huh? Who would have thought? Not me. But I saw it. I went on a walk earlier this week and I drove to the place that I walked, and it was on campus, UC Davis's campus. I drove to this parking lot, and it's not very busy. I think it's Friday at like 6:40 p.m. And I go to this parking lot on Friday at 6:40 p.m. and there's only like 3 or 4 cars in this parking lot, but I noticed a guy going to each car and he's wearing this, yellow vest. And then I looked farther down the parking lot and there was a truck. It was the white Davis like transportation services truck. And I was like, I see what's going on here. So I park basically in between all 4 of these cars. And the guy gets done checking out the last car. It was an SUV of sorts. And at every parking lot on campus, there's these signs so that you can go into this app called Park Mobile and you can like enter the code of whatever, is on that sign and then hit, reserve for an hour or however much time. And so I was like, I'm going to go on a walk. So we'll reserve it for like 2 hours. So I enter the code into my phone and it's $3.50 for 2 hours, $3.50. But I was like, I want to make sure I got the right zone number because I also looked across the way and there was a different zone number. So I was like, wait a minute, which zone do I fall in? I was kind of in the middle of these 2 different signs. So I asked the guy in the yellow vest just for peace of mind because I was like, if I don't figure this out, I'm just going to be thinking about it for the next 2 hours on my walk. And you go on a walk, to clear your head. And so if I don't clear this up, this walk is going to be useless. It's going to be pointless because I'm going to have a clouded head, a lot of fog up there. Carl, how'd you get there? Oh, I'm just stopping by, bud. Oh, cool. Stay as long as you want. So I said, excuse me, which zone are we in? And then he was like, well, usually you're in zone A, but after 5 p.m., it transfers over to zone C. I was like, okay. I was like, so if I enter that number, that's okay? He's like, yeah, it'll automatically do it in the app. It'll like redirect you to zone C and you'll pay for that. I was like, cool. But I still wasn't sure, So I showed him my phone. I was like, so if I have this is good. I basically just wanted him to say, yeah, the thing you've done, that's what you're supposed to do. It's like when you go to a teacher and they're like teaching you how to do a problem. And they're like, so what you're going to do is these 2 steps, but then there's a 3rd step. So you like say the first 2 steps out loud. And you're like, so I multiply them out. And they're like, uh-huh. And you're like, and then you get this. And like, mm-hmm. And then you try to be sly about it. And you're like, so that would mean the answer's this? And they're like, do you just want me to tell you you've got the answer or not? And I'm like, yeah, no, that's exactly what I want. And they're like, yeah, fine, you got the answer. But I'm not going to help you next time. And then they do. If they're cool. If they're not cool, they wouldn't have even told you the first time. But I just wanted him to like really check my work and be like, this is right? Because you're the one that's going to grade my paper. So I just want to make sure like you approve because you're the guy. It would only make sense. It'd be, what was that term? I'd be remiss if I didn't check with you, the guy, So I did. I checked with him, the guy. And he was like, yeah, you're good. And the thing that stood out to me about this interaction was how like void of life this guy was. It was incredible. Like it didn't feel like a black hole. Like I wasn't getting sucked in, but it felt like a void of sorts. There was no emotion. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's kind of terrifying. Like, I was like, does this guy hate? No, he doesn't even, you would think like when you see that, you're like, he hates his job, right? I don't even think there was hatred. I think it was just like, what is the word complacency? Like, I think he's just come to terms with it. He's like, this is what I do. Like, this is, I know what I need to do. I'm doing it. Don't fucking ask me your questions. I was like, oh, okay, sorry. But then he goes, gets back in his truck, drives away. And I was like, let me take a sneak peek at one of these tickets. I was like, what do they look like? I've never seen one. So I go and I read it and it says $55. I'm like, what the fuck? I've heard of people getting these tickets, but something about seeing it in real life was so jarring. I was like, oh my God. It's something, yeah. It's like a grand slam at a baseball game. Logistically, you get what happens. Bases were loaded, they hit a home run. But something about seeing it in real life adds this extra sparkle, this extra jazz. It adds the magic to it. And so, yeah, that was a magical moment for me. It certainly took my breath away because I was like, $55? Huh? Huh? And I was like, damn, it kind of sucks that that guy didn't even have any emotions. Because I was like, if he was like an angry guy and like upset at these people, you could kind of justify being angry at him. You'd be like, hey, why are you angry? You're not the one that has to pay $55. But something about the fact that he didn't possess a singular emotion, it made any kind of, feeling that you would have had towards him, um, it would, I feel like, kind of render it futile, right? Because you're like, it doesn't even matter if I hate him. He doesn't care. Like, you know how if a teacher like gives you a bad grade, you don't feel bad if they're a shitty person. But if they get if you get a bad grade and they're just like an objective person, then you kind of got to, look at yourself and be like, I can't even get mad at that person because they treat everyone the same. This isn't even coming from like their emotions. This is just like, I did a bad job. And so it's like, these people are going to see their ticket and be like, oh, fuck these parking attendants, But I saw, how the sausage was made and the sausage holder, the sausage maker, you know? And I was like, oh, I get how all of this is done. And I'm like, you can't really be mad at the guy. Because he's not doing it out of malice. He's doing it out of, this is my job. Like, when you see those videos online of people getting in fights with like someone that works in like service or whatever, a lot of the times people that work in service, like food service, they're smart, and they're emotionally intelligent enough to know, hey, don't fire back when a customer is acting up. It's not worth it. But sometimes you get lucky with these videos because sometimes the employee, they've just had enough that day. And so they react, The employee comes up, excuse me, I'm number 6 and you just called number 7 and I still haven't got my food. You want to maybe explain that? I went to school. I know that 7 came after 6. And it's like, well, yeah. Of course 7 has priority over 6. Everyone's scared of 7. Because 7, 8, 9. Oh my God. He doesn't miss. Woo! But yeah, this person comes up and they're like, excuse me, I was number 6. And you just called number 7. Where's my food? And the person's like, well, it's coming out. And the person's like, well, make it come out faster. And the worker's like, you should not have kids. There's layers to that joke. But so the person, I don't know, I don't think it would escalate this fast, but the person, actually no, it could. I was going to say they might throw a punch, but I was like, that wouldn't happen. But what could happen is number 6 would pick up number 7's food and throw it at the employee. And I think in most cases, the employee, like I said, is smart enough to know that it's not worth it. They just got recorded, like they're going to get screwed in life. The best thing for me to do right now is nothing. But let's say that person had to clean the bathrooms that day. That person had to work an extra shift. That person couldn't find parking. They had to park so fucking far away. And then they got the notification on their app. For some reason, their car's hooked up to their phone. I don't know how that even works. Maybe it's super high tech. Do cars do that? Can you connect Oh, probably like Teslas, right? They do that. I don't know. But yeah, they got a notification on their phone that, oh, their car was broken into. Basically everything Murphy's Law, right? Murphy's fucking this. For some reason, I keep picturing In and Out. Murphy is fucking this In and Out worker, okay? And so everything, a lot of buttons have been pushed. And all it took was number 6 to throw number 7's food at this worker to make this In and Out worker blow up. And then they leap over the, the counter and then they beat the shit out of this person. And you know the best part? I forgot why I brought this up. Why did I bring this up? See, I can't, like, my brain is all kinds of, like, mixed up right now. Let's backtrack. How did I bring that up? Oh, the guy giving tickets, right? Oh, there it is. Okay. I got it. Hey, I'm here. I'm caught. Hey guys, you on page 60? I'm also on page 60 because I'm on the same page now. But when the worker fights back, now you can kind of like watch that video and be like, ooh, I'm kind of rooting for someone, because in the first case, when the employee doesn't fire back, which is I think most cases, you're always rooting for that employee. But now there's a fight, and you're like, depending on like stature and like how the situation went down, I might root for the customer. Obviously, in this case, who the fuck would root for that customer? I would say like 99.99% of the time, the customer is probably wrong, which is funny because isn't that what they say? The customer is always right. I don't know. In food service, at least, I don't know. A lot of times I feel like when orders get messed up, it's usually on the patron, right? The person ordering, the customer. I don't know. But yeah, I saw this guy give these tickets to people, and I was just like, damn, you can't even really be mad at the guy because he doesn't even really care. Like, this is the whole ordeal was perfunctory as a whole, I would say. Like, it wasn't even, yeah, there was nothing attached to it. Like, in basketball, if someone dunks on someone, I think one of the most insulting things the dunker could do is just run to go play defense. Because then, if the dunk was nasty enough, the defender's like, oh my God, they didn't even like rub it in. They were just like, yeah, this is what I do. You're just another one of my fucking victims. But if, you get dunked on and then the dunker starts screaming, getting real loud in the dunkies or the donkey's face, you can kind of be like, all right, hey, show some sportsmanship. Which I never agree with that. If you dunk on someone, you should definitely scream in their face. You earn that right by going up there and like doing that. You kind of are in the now, like you have permission to do certain things, like scream in another grown man's face because you put a ball in a hoop and they were in the way. Yeah, anyone that says show some sportsmanship in sports, I would say like 98% of the time they're just butthurt. If their team was doing that shit, they're like, yeah, that's why I watch sports. It's like, well, that's why you watch your team, okay? Like, but yeah, the minute the other team does it, hey, come on, guys, it's a game. Remember, hey, don't. But if the person the dunker, they just run off, then the crowd can't even really get into it. They can't even pick a side because they're like, oh fuck, that just happened. And there wasn't even any flair or like celebratory post dunkening. So I can't even like, yeah, Ooh. It's almost surgical, you know? The way that guy was giving people parking tickets, he was like $55, $55, $55. I take no joy in this. This is just my job. Same way like a heart surgeon cuts open a heart. They're not like, oh my God, a heart. Holy shit. They're just like, this is a heart. I'm going in. That guy wasn't like, ooh, 55, 55. He was just like 55, 55. Whatever. I'm going home after this. Also, I'm not getting those $55. Why should I give a fuck? Now, if I'm writing these tickets and I get a wrist cramp, then I'll be kind of pissed off. Then I'll be affected. But right now, no, I don't give a fuck. I got no skin in this game. This is between these people and the university or whoever makes the rules. I don't even know. I just drive around in my white truck with my notepad and my little Bic pen, and I do what needs to be done. But does it need to be done? You know? Let's say he lets those people go. He doesn't give them a $55 ticket at 7 p.m. on a Friday. Is the world a worse place? That parking lot can probably fit. I'm going to do a gross overestimation. No, but I think it's right. I'm going to say 200 cars, right? And to give a ticket to the 3 cars that were there, I mean, come on. You know? I don't know. But then there's probably cameras, right? And then someone might be like, you know, there's probably like someone's job to like make sure he's doing his job, right? So if he goes back to the station or wherever like they go, and the guy watching the camera is like, hey, did you get those 3 cars in lot whatever? If he says no, he's like, ooh, so you didn't do your job? It's like, man, just let him go, you know? Why do we care? Okay? Can't we just say after 5 p.m. you can park wherever the fuck you want? Like, why do we have to care after that? You know why those parking lots are empty? Because people are going and having lives, okay? Why can't I have mine? Why do I have to punish my own people, my own loners that are out there with their cars alone? That's me. I don't have friends, so I got to stay here, park my car in this parking lot, go on a walk by myself. Why am I punishing the people that I relate to? And you're like, well, it's what we signed up for. And it's like, damn, it's a cold world. It's a cold, unforgiving world. And those parking attendant people, they remind you. I saw this guy, I was driving earlier this week, and I saw this guy walking down the sidewalk, as one does, but he was bouncing a bouncy ball. And I was like, that's the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, that ball can just, you've played with a bouncy ball, right? Like, sometimes it can take an erroneous, like, ooh, bounce. And I'm like, that's just traffic next to you. And it wasn't like a little bouncy ball that you get like at a pizza place for 25 cents. It was like a full, like, it was the size of a baseball. And I was like, yo, if that shit hits a pebble, something's going to happen, you know? And he was doing it so carefree too. I think he was like, on one hand, he was on the speakerphone with someone. The other hand, he was just like, ha ha ha. It was just, whew. And he was doing it high too. You know, those things can really get some air. And you're like, oh, and the super bouncy balls can get even higher air. No, that's propaganda they've been selling you. All bouncy balls bounce the same. There's no such thing as a super bouncy ball. Wake up, sheeple. But yeah, he was getting some super height on that thing. I was like, yo, that is a busy ass 3-lane street next to you, homie. You got to chill out. Can you get a ticket for that? He was on the phone, right? Can you get a ticket for bouncing while distracted? BWD. Because you couldn't. Yeah, you can't drive a car or a bike while on your phone. Why should you be able to bounce a bouncy ball while on the phone? I don't make the rules. I'm just pointing out the inconsistencies here. Okay. Get me an office. I'll fix everything. Did you guys hear Gauruv Virk's new and reformed bouncy ball legislation? It's game changing, I tell you. It'll take us to heights we've never seen before. Heights that even a super bouncy ball can't get to. And then I barge in, there's no such thing as a fucking super bouncy ball. And they're like, I love how he really sticks to his word. See that? That's the guy we need. Someone who gives a damn, you know? Does he give a damn about just bouncy balls? Yeah, but I like that energy. We can channel it, somewhere else. Anyways, thanks for listening to the podcast. You guys really liked, according to the numbers, last week's episode. So I just want to say thank you so much for that. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for listening. And I'll talk to you next week. Okay? Bye.